After roaming around the beach with the bears of Katmai, we wanted to see what else the Kenai Peninsula had to offer. So we started with the small town of Seward.
Seward was near the top of my list of places I wanted to see in Alaska, and for one big reason, Mount Marathon. From pretty much anywhere in town, it's hard to miss Mount Marathon. It towers more than 3,000 feet over the town below. Since the year 1915, there's been an annual race going from downtown Seward to the top of Mount Marathon and back to downtown. Arguably the toughest 5K in the world. So of course, I had to go see what this race course was all about.
It basically starts straight from town, goes almost 3,000 feet up a big mountain, and turn around and bomb down. 3.1 miles round trip, so you know it's pretty steep.
The Mount Marathon race ascent is basically a choose-your-own adventure, with paths zigzagging all across the mountain. All of those paths eventually come together at the top. And then you get to turn around and bomb down.
All right. Getting ready to start the infamous Mount Marathon descent. Basically just goes straight down the mountain.
It's basically like a kamikaze mission.
Pretty awesome.
Turns out the Mount Marathon race course is so nice, I had to do it twice. So I went back out again the next day.
As I was waiting for him to come back on that second day, he knocked on the door and opened it, and he said one thing to me. I hurt my back.
While pulling on tree branches and trying to get up the mud, I ended up tweaking something in my lower back, and it just got worse as I went up the mountain. But the easiest way to get off the mountain was to go to the top and then go back down.
That's pretty freaking hard.
Or at least that's what I want to tell myself. I think I just really wanted to get to the top of the mountain again. And then eventually, whenever I got back down to the pavement, it was everything I could do to run. And that's when I knew it was pretty bad.
Rather than risk any more hiking in Seward, I wanted to give Kendrick a little rest, so this girl took over driving duties as we headed to the next small town, Whittier.
Turns out she still remembers how to drive.
Who knew? It's no secret Kendrick does all of the driving, so that I can sit in the passenger seat and work. But it felt kind of nice to get behind the wheel again. The drive to Whittier had a lot of beautiful views, and we pulled over often so that Kendrick could get out and stretch his back. But the best part about the drive to Whittier is the 2-mile-long tunnel that we got to drive through.
At 2.5 miles long, the Whittier Tunnel is apparently the world's longest highway tunnel.
And not only that, it is one lane, which means only one direction gets to go at once. So every 30 minutes, they switch the direction of the traffic that gets to go through.
We'll see if Mandy can hold her breath for the entire bridge.
I don't think so. When we got into Whittier, we realized it really is nothing more than a simple port town. So unless you're going there to get on or off of a cruise ship, there's not much reason to pay the fee to get through the tunnel to go there. However, the one thing that made it completely worth our time was doing the Portage Pass Trail.
So we made our way to the trailhead and decided that would be the perfect place to boondock for the night.
Hearing rumors of how beautiful this hike was, I wanted to wait until around sunset so I could get the best light for photos.
Originally, I was not going to go on this hike because my back still hurt pretty bad. But Mandy was really excited about going on this hike, so I let fear of missing out get the best of me and decided to join along.
FOMO. Isn't that what the kids are calling it? I was really happy to have Kendrick's company, but I still had to carry all the camera gear.
It's about time you see what I bring to the table.
The rumors were true. This really was a beautiful hike. It went over Portage Pass, which is only 800 feet, but with everything else so low, it still made for a spectacular view. The climb was pretty steep, especially considering how much camera gear I was carrying with me, but it's always worth carrying the gear if the image is what you're after.
It was a little bit of a struggle for me with the way my back was hurting. I just kind of hobbled along like an old man, enjoyed every step of the way and got to watch Mandy shooting the lake and the glacier.
When we got to the lake with the glacier across from us, the sun wasn't quite down enough to be creating any kind of color, but it was still beautiful. Because I wanted to capture the whole scene, I pulled out my 24 to 70 millimeter lens. Now, a lot of people like their water photographed in different ways, but I've always been a fan of really soft water. This meant I needed a tripod, which luckily I brought too, and also filters. I pulled out my Schneider Optics 4-stop circular polarizer and used that to really slow down my shutter speed. So with a 30-second exposure, I was able to make this water really smooth and really beautiful. After photographing the lake and the glacier, I couldn't stop thinking about that beautiful view from the pass. I figured if we started hiking now, we could get back to the top of the pass for that post-sunset glow. And I was right. There was a small pool of water in front of the glacier, and I chose to do another long exposure to really smooth out that water. This took out all the distraction in the water so that your eye goes right to the blue of that beautiful glacier.
The next day, we made our way back to the tunnel and started heading towards Anchorage. After our morning coffee, of course.
Of course.
Our original plan was to drive straight to Valdez, so we had more time there. But being realistic and knowing that I have a 100-mile running race coming up in mid-September, we decided to spend a few days around Anchorage so that I can get in to see a chiropractor.
Knowing we still had a lot of driving ahead of us, I ran into Walmart and got him a TENS machine and a heating pad so that he could at least have something to give him some comfort while driving. Because, I still need my driver.
That's all I am. After 2 visits with the chiropractor, we decided it was time for some much-needed R&R.
We found the perfect boondocking spot for this. It was down a pretty rough road, but there was very low traffic, which meant it was very quiet. Plus, it had enough internet coverage that I could work.
And I can watch Netflix while lounging with my new heating pad.
And to top it all off, we got to have a campfire.
Which meant that I got to do one of my favorite things. Cook a big slab of meat on an open flame while enjoying a nice cold drink.
And I got dinner. While listening to our dinner sizzle over the open fire, we talked about how life doesn't always go according to plan. When living on the road, you've got to be open and willing to adapt because you never know what situations will arise. So, here's to making time for a little R&R. Love and light.
Cooper.